Hi everyone, welcome back to another Sparks Live. I'm so excited to be here tonight because I'm hungry and I hope you are too. Forget your Taco Tuesdays, this is Taco Thursdays. We are going to do some spicy beef tacos with the best of British beef, and we're going to make a homemade salsa with some lovely British tomatoes. So as always, fire the questions at us here and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. And I might even ask you guys a few tonight. So type away and let me know. And I guess quick run through of the recipe and the ingredients. Can we get up on the screen now there? So we've got some olive oil, we've got some Select Farms British beef mince, or you can use a Plant Kitchen alternative. We've got that fajita seasoning, some chopped tomatoes, some plum tomatoes, half a red onion, some coriander. We've got some avocados, some lettuce, soft tacos, sour cream, and some lime wedges. So you should have everything out in front of you. We're going to get started. Get yourself a large non-stick frying pan on a high heat from M&S, of course. We'll get that on fairly hot. We're going to start off by frying off our mince, and we want to get it hot because we want to caramelize that beef and get the outside nice and browned, and then that means you're going to create more flavor, and it's just going to be even more delicious. It's attention to detail like that which makes, well, sort of elevates your home cooking to another level. So many times you put the mince in and just the pan's not quite hot enough and it's sort of boiling away. You want it fiercely hot and nice and sizzling. And I'm going to use some olive oil to fry off. Just a regular olive oil is probably best for frying. Extra virgin, not at a high heat because you'll actually burn it and it can go a little bit bitter. I've been asked, can you freeze guacamole? I'll be honest, I've never frozen guacamole because avocados for me, you want to eat them fresh and enjoy them at their best. But what you can do is if you just use half an avocado, give the inside of it a little rub with lime juice and it will stop it going brown, and just pop it in the fridge and it will last a couple of days. So splash of oil into your frying pan now. I'll move that and you can see a little bit what's going on. Probably a tablespoon or so. I'm using a 5% fat mince here tonight. However, you can use whatever percentage fat you like. Basically, more fat means more flavor. I'm just going a little bit leaner. This is the sort of food you can eat every day. But you can see in the fat that sort of marbling of the white. That is the fat. So if you buy a 20%, you'll see more white. That is literally just the fat within the meat. And Aberdeen Angus beef mince. I was up in Scotland in Jedburgh, not far from my hometown, Hexham, which is in Northumberland, and we met Robert, the most amazing guy, and his sons, who put so much love. It's like a labor of love. They love what they do, and it really comes across in the flavor. Aberdeen Angus, if you didn't know, is a sort of breed of cow, and it is just famous for that flavor that it delivers. And you're going to find out tonight just how good it is. And mince, it's a great thing. Well, let's get it in the pan. It should be nice and kind of hot there now. Bit of a sizzle. Mince is such a good thing. It's great value for money. It tastes great, and it's a really good sort of vessel for taking on different flavors and spices. I mean, everyone's done a classic chili before or a bolognese, and when it comes to home cooking, it's something you should be having. Well, I like it once a week at least. Let's have a look at the questions. Kathy, I'm going to tell you the salsa recipe. Don't worry about that. We've got that coming up. And if you are veggie or vegan, M&S now do this no beef mince mix, which is made with pea protein. So you could add that in. And to be honest, if you want to do a bigger portion, one thing I've started to do, just because I think we're all more conscious about how much meat we're having as an intake, you could even do half and half. So you could do half the pan of regular beef mince, half a pan of that, and then you keep everyone happy. Just for yourself, you know, like eat good quality beef. You don't need to eat it every day. And just to make it go a bit further, you can even try bulking it out. These products aren't just for the sort of vegans out there. They're good for everyone. And if you've never tried it, I challenge you, try and make this recipe again, but using the Plant Kitchen range. So in there, we've got that really nice and hot. Probably give it 3 to 5 minutes to get some colour on there. Keep it stirring. Let's get rid of this. Has anyone got any more questions coming in? I'm going to ask one for you. So we've been traveling around the country doing these fresh market updates, heroing the best of British ingredients. Has anyone tried any of the recipes that we've put out there? Has there been a favorite one? Are there any products that you've tried that are new, that you'd never had before or you didn't know about? There's a question coming. Is it a non-stick pan? It is a non-stick pan. To be honest, most of the pans I use at home are all non-stick. I think they're great, really, aren't they? Things don't stick to them. Get the pan nice and hot. Medium-high heat. I would have it on a little bit higher at this stage. I've got mine on high because you can see we're starting to get a little bit of colour on there. You might just be able to see on there the edges of the beef getting a bit of caramelization. And this applies if you're doing bolognese, if you're doing chili. Don't be scared to get the heat really, really hot. It's just like doing a steak. If you think about it, you want to get color on the outside of it. That just gives you that lovely flavor. And because you've got more surface area with the mince, that means you're going to get even more of that sweet caramelized meat flavor. And we're just going to keep going on that until it is all brown. And another question for you. We're doing tacos. Do you prefer soft tacos or the hard taco shells? Oh, it smells good already, this. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't eaten all day. We were in Boston. I've just literally got back from Boston in the UK, not America, unfortunately. But we've been filming some lovely free-range egg recipes, a couple of brunch things coming your way for Fresh Market Update. And straight back to make beef tacos for me and the crew for dinner. And I'm hoping they're happy about that. No response from the audience. Oh, a few nods of the heads going around. They're happy. Oh, Claire's using turkey mince. Do you know what? That's great. Like red meat, I love it and I eat it. But sometimes you just want to cut down. And turkey mince, especially the turkey thigh mince, has a really sort of rich, meaty flavor. And it's something you can do a substitute for with your beef recipes. Oh, Lorraine, his mince is done. Okay, so take your fajita seasoning and just add it in there, Lorraine. And to be honest, mine is nice and brown now. So I'm going to add mine into there. Let's have a look. You can see all the mince really nice and brown. And then scatter in that fajita seasoning. And it'll start to smell as soon as that seasoning hits the pan, the heat. Let's have a look at that. You want to really coat all of the mince in it. Keep the heat nice and high. And we'll cook that off, I don't know, 3-5 minutes. Start to cook the spices out. And the fajita seasoning is packed full of herbs and spices. By all means, you can go ahead and make your own. But having it in the packet means you're not needing a 1/4 teaspoon of this, 1/2 teaspoon of that. Because when it comes down to spices, it is all about the balance. And that is perfectly balanced. And, you know, we're allowed to go back out and do stuff out at work. You want to come in and just make something delicious in no time at all. Claire's asking, can I use anything than olive oil? For me, I would probably just go veg oil, groundnut oil, rapeseed oil, but not like a sesame oil because that flavor wouldn't work well in here and it would also burn. Now, I'm going to get onto the avocado. Oh, Karen's just said she loved the truffle cream cheese pasta with asparagus. You know, I nearly forgot about that one. I need to make that again, that truffle cream cheese and the asparagus. Eating the asparagus spear fresh out the ground. I feel incredibly lucky to have done that. It is sweet. If you've never had asparagus raw, just try it. It's almost like eating sugar snap peas. Now you can turn the heat down on the pan slightly, just to a medium, cook the spices out, and I'm going to talk avocados. So it will be a good one if you've got it from M&S, always is, but they're perfectly ripe. You want a slight bit of give on there, little bit of give, and you know it's done, not done, ripe. And this is how I get them out. Well, this is how I get the flesh out of the avocado. So take your knife and hold it in your hand, and you need to be really careful when you do this, or you can even do it on the board and just slice into it. Thought someone would stitch it with a blunt knife here, but they haven't. And run the knife around all the way, and you'll feel the stone in the middle. And Alison's asked, do you fry the plant kitchen mince? Yes, yeah, just do it exactly the same. Now, with the avocado, all you need to do is give it a gentle twist, and it will come out like this. That one's good to go. And then with the one with the stone in, you need to be really careful here. Hold it in the palm of your hand and just give it a sort of gentle tap with a sharp knife, and you can just give it a twist and pop that out. And then grab a towel or something like that. Out comes the stone. Unfortunately, you can't do much with that. We get rid of it. And then your avocado, to scoop it out, actually get yourself a spoon. And it's so satisfying. Just run the knife under the avocado all the way around, and you can literally pop those avocado halves out of there like this. So simple. Look at that. And then grab yourself a sharp knife, and obviously this is up to you what you want to do with it. So you can slice a bit, just run the knife through like that. You can do slices, you can dice it, put some in the salsa, you can crush it, make a dip. In fact, I'll do all of the above. So there's some slice to go on the top. I'll dice a bit, and we can put that in our salsa later on. And I'll get another one, we can crush it. So that's that done. Let's keep an eye on our mince. Oh, Trish said it smells amazing. I'll agree with you there. It smells delicious. Oh, keep it stirring. You want to cook those spices out. You can take the heat down to a medium now. And just look at that. It's starting to coat the beef in all of the spice mix. And this recipe we actually filmed in 2019 for the first Fresh Market update, and that was in Northumberland. And the farmer's called Andy, and we met him, his wife and the kids. And I'll never forget, we were sat in his sort of farmyard on a big bench eating these tacos, and it was just fantastic to do that. And I'm having such a great experience meeting these farmers, and it's so important that we support British producers, but also start eating these produce when they're at the best. When we come to the salsa, we're going to use these British tomatoes, and so many people think of Italian tomatoes. We live in Britain. They're literally on our doorstep. They're absolutely delicious. They are sweet. Eat them when they're at their best. And I've got a little top tip for these ones later on. Now, another top tip, your avocado, to stop it going brown, if you've got people coming around, or even if you're just doing it for brunch, just a little squeeze of lime juice on the top. That acid will stop it going brown. Same as if you're making an apple crumble, you know, you squeeze a bit of lime on there, stops them sort of oxidizing, and it also tastes nice with the acidity. Now, back to our mince. That is done, basically, when it's all coated, and it should smell delicious. Tin of chopped tomatoes, stock cupboard staple that is. In they go. Straight in. And you notice I haven't really added any salt to this, because there's obviously quite a lot of different herbs, spices, and salt in the fajita mix. But later on we can add a bit more if we need it. Stir that through and get the heat right up now, because we want to bring that to sort of a boil, and then we can reduce the heat and just simmer it. Chrissy's asked me, can you use the stone to grow an avocado? I don't think you can. I don't think we've got the climate to grow avocados in this country as well. And they take a lot of water to grow. So I'd continue to buy them from M&S if I were you. Oh, Kerry, I love the Cajun chicken and rice recipe you did. We have it regularly. Do you know what? It's so nice to hear that people have new family favorites. And we're doing the Fresh Market update till the end of the summer, and then we're back on Feed Your Family for £12. And while I'm here, let's have a look at some of our old recipe cards. These will be going back in store in September. You know, everyone, you'll be back to work, kids will be back to school. Picture on the front, simple step-by-step on the back. We've got some delicious recipes coming up for you in September, so stay tuned in store for them. And I think I need a new cardboard cutout, because I look about 12 on this one. I think it was taken a couple of years ago. Elaine's asked, would lemons work as well as limes to stop it going brown? Absolutely. It's just that acidity that's going to do it. The mince now, you can sort of turn the heat down, and we'll just simmer it 10, 15 minutes. Top tip, if you like it extra saucy, add another tin of chopped tomatoes in. Completely up to you. Now we're going to get onto our salsa. Salsas are great to use up tomatoes and you can put anything into them, different herbs, you can put chili, different spices. But let's start with the basic one. And for me, the base of any good salsa are tomatoes. So we've got these sweet Rosso tomatoes. You can use plum tomatoes. These are from a guy called Andy in Lincolnshire. The nicest guy, and I've never met someone so passionate about the produce. He's sort of on this never-ending quest to create the perfect tomato, and you ask him, is that the best one you've done? He went, it is, but I know next year's will be better. He has literally devoted his life to growing them, and one thing he told me was, I said, how do you like to eat them? And he went, Chris, I like them out the fridge. And I'm thinking, you don't eat tomatoes out the fridge. If you ask any chef, they'll say store them at room temperature. He went, the sweetness, they are so sweet. Their sugar level is actually higher than a strawberry. They call it the Brix content. And they have like a really crisp texture. And there's so much juice. You store them in the fridge. You say, Chris, as a snack, put it in your mouth. And he said, the only analogy is that ice cold beer or drink from the fridge when you pop the lid and you take that first sip. And he was right. You've got to try some sweet Rosso tomatoes out of the fridge. Oh, Trish has asked, do I add sugar to I chopped tomatoes? You can add sugar to the chopped tomatoes. I think there's a little bit of sweetness in the Fajita Spice blend, but the joy of cooking at home is it's all down to you. This is your recipe. You're doing it along with me. So have a little taste. And if you want to add a little bit of sugar to it, by all means add it in. A brown sugar might be nice. And the reason you would add sugar to a tin of chopped tomatoes is tomatoes have acidity in them, and it just balances that out. But it's all down to personal preference. So on to the salsa. Let's take our tomatoes. British tomatoes, you know, like I said before, everyone thinks Italian this, Italian that. They're great. I eat them when I'm over there. But these grow on our doorstep, and they're delicious. And I've had the pleasure of going to the Isle of Wight as well. They've got their own microclimate out there. With Emma, who sat here with me now, we were in the Isle of Wight 2 years ago, just eating the fresh tomatoes. These are the ones you buy in M&S. And, oh, delicious. Support your British farmers. Now, let's give the knife a little clean. Just cut your cherry tomatoes in half, or you can use large tomatoes. And just start getting them in a bowl. You can halve them, you can quarter them. You can really do what you want, but just take your time with it. It's not a race. Slice them in half. Eat a couple as you go, obviously. And we're going to put some red onion in there. We'll put some coriander. If you don't like coriander, put some parsley or mint. You can add chili. You can add avocado. Just make it your own. So work your way through them. Sarah's looking forward to the family recipes in September. Shall we give a sneak peek? I think we shall give a sneak peek. So one thing I really want to do is continue this theme that we've done all year of what's in season. So we're thinking seasonal. That's going to be something to look out for. And September, October, we're coming into the autumn time. So I'm thinking something along the lines of like squash, risotto, something rich, satisfying, but still quite healthy. We're going to pack loads of veg into there. And we're going to give a vegan option with the cheese at the end. I'm going to drop some little bits of mozzarella in just to melt throughout that rich butternut squashy risotto. But we do have a vegan cheese which you can use as well. That's something we're thinking. We're thinking about sort of a September veg minestrone soup. Perfect to make a big vat of that. Pop it on the table. Dunk in some crusty bread. Ooh. Stella, do you de-seed the tomatoes for the salsa? Oh, the mince is burning. Turn down the turn the heat down. Turn the heat down. And give it a stir, okay? So if your mince, here's something, if you move it aside, you can see nothing stuck to the bottom of the pan. I would say if it's really, really sticking, what you can do is pour your mince into a bowl like this. In fact, I'm going to do it just for anyone that might have burnt their mince, so you can do it along with me. Grab yourself a mixing bowl. Pour your mince in there. If your mince is fine, just keep it simmering. You don't need to start pouring it out, but you can just take the mince out, but do not scrape the bits from the bottom of the pan, because they are going to be the burnt bits that will taste a little bit bitter. So remove it, and if you've got anything stuck on there, literally get it under the sink, give it a good blast with the tap. Be careful, don't burn yourself. Give it a wipe out, and then return the mince back into the pan, minus the burnt bits. And that's a sort of top tip. Or you can put it in a new pan, but for me, I don't want to be messing around with more washing up. So Hopefully that helped, Stella. But that's a great thing. Don't go scraping the burnt bits off, because when things burn, they go bitter, and we definitely don't want that. Then you probably will need to add half a bag of sugar in to balance out the sort of flavour there. So anyway, on with the salsa. Just cutting the tomatoes up. Oh, I love the fresh chicken burger with the katsu sauce. That katsu ketchup, if you haven't tried it, we all love a katsu curry now. Well, I know I do. Ketchup that tastes like katsu sauce on chicken in a bun with some lettuce. It is absolutely delicious. Well, that stuff's just even great on your chips. Put it into your salads. Mix it up with a bit of mayonnaise for a katsu sort of mayo. Oof. Yeah, it's great. Oh, here's a one. You roast a load of potatoes, mix some mayonnaise with the katsu ketchup, and do like a katsu patatas bravas-esque thing. Just thought of that now. That'll be really nice. I'm going to put some of the diced avocado into the salsa. So you've got your chopped tomatoes in there. You don't have to put the avo in. Completely up to you. We'll give that a little stir together. And at this point, a pinch of salt, pinch of pepper can go in. Nice bit of salt with the tomatoes. And then into that, we're going to do some red onion. And, you know, not everyone's keen on red onion, so if you don't like it, you don't have to put it in. Again, enjoy your cooking at home. You're in control. But what you do want to do if you're using red onion is cut it super, super fine, because that almost takes the rawness out of it. So cut your onion in half. We're just going for half a red onion here. Save the other half for a roast chicken, something like that. Lay it flat on the board, and we always lay it flat because it won't rock around. So if you have it this way up and you're trying to cut, that is when you're going to cut yourself. And we don't want that. We just want to be cutting the onion. So lay it flat. Peel off any of this sort of woody skin, because that doesn't cut so well. Let's give everyone a second to get their onion prepped. Elaine would like to make celeriac recipes. Ah, that sounds delicious. Some sort of soup, with nutmeg, like a dolphin was. I like that. Oh, Boris is loving the damage control tips. You know, it's good to have a few of them in your hat. But that is such a good thing. Just don't scrape off the burnt bits. Get it out, then get the burnt bits out, and then put it back in the pan. Red onion. Let's get chopping. So lie it flat. And then we've done this before, but you want to use your sort of knuckles as a guide here. And then, let me get the avocado off my hands. And then you're going to slice and run your fingers back as you go. And take your time. Thin slices. I'll go slow, you can go along. And just keep on running the fingers back like that. And honestly, take your time with it. The more you do it, the better you'll come. Practice makes perfect. And when you get to the end bit, you can almost lay that down flat and then just go again. Keep on going. And then this sort of like stalky bit, the root, we ain't going to need that. And then you can see there, just break them up into little sort of half moony shapes. And then into your tomatoes and your avocados. And if you've got a massive red onion, you don't need to put it all in. You can save some for tomorrow. Just put them in some water, leave them overnight in the fridge, and they'll be good to go tomorrow. Bit more in there. And then on top of that, a nice pinch of salt onto your red onions. And what the salt will do is help sort of take the harshness out of them. And just break them down a little bit. And you can make your salsa 30 minutes before you want to serve it, 10 minutes before. Anytime in advance, leave it at room temperature. And all the flavors will start to come together. So we can now move on to our herbs. For tonight, I'm going coriander. I mean, you were right, a bigger bowl would have been useful for this, but I thought I knew best. Now I'm going to go in with the stalks as well. There's loads of flavor in the stalks. And what you want to do is roll that coriander up really tight into a ball. And then same technique, just run your fingers through, stalks and all. I always say you've paid for it, so get it in there. Same when you're doing curries and stuff. Stalks on coriander, they're delicious. And then you can just like run your knife over the top of the herbs, chop it really fine. Any of the big thicker stalks, you can sort of take those out, but all the little ones in the middle, it's all flavour. I am going to grab a bigger bowl so you can see what's going on. Let's chuck it in here. Get all that in there. That's a massive bowl, that is. There was sort of like a medium-sized glass bowl down there about 15 minutes ago, and that's gone AWOL. So I'm doing it in the old, they used to have them in the old B-row recipe books, these big old mixing bowls. Get that in there, give it a stir. There we are, now you can see what's happening. This is for demonstration purposes only. Oh. A lot of you want some squash ideas. All I do is roast it. And, do you know, roasting squash is delicious, but there's a recipe we did for a roast squash. Sorry to bore you with another roast squash recipe, but Hasselback squash. Now, Hasselback, cut it in half. So you've cut it sort of, where's that avocado gone? You want to cut your squash down lengthways, and then you take your knife, and then what you literally do is run a wooden spoon. Oh, it's not going to work well. It's a bit of a mess, but you put a wooden spoon at each side of it, and then you basically slice down, and then you're never going to get to the bottom, and you create like a fan effect all the way along the top of the squash, and then get some harissa paste, rub that harissa throughout the squash, olive oil, salt, pepper, put it in the oven for about 45 minutes, and it sort of fans out, and that harissa and the oil just melts into it. Take it out of the oven, put some feta cheese on the top, your favorite herbs, delicious veggie recipe, that. Back to the salsa. So we've got our tomatoes, our red onion, our coriander, avocado, and then a good squeeze of lime can go in there. And it's up to you how much lime you put in. I'll go for the juice of half a lime here because I like it limey. We can always add more later. Salt and pepper. If you've got some chili and you like chilies, you can put a bit of chili into there. And then I'm going to go extra virgin olive oil for this because extra virgin is better for dressings. And tonight I wanted to show you this new cold extracted extra virgin olive oil. It's unrefined. Now, cold press means no heat has been applied to the oil. And because it's sort of been unfiltered, you can see the color of it. And it retains even more of its goodness. You hear all of the health benefits of extra virgin olive oil. If you can get a cold one like that, unfiltered, all the good stuff's in there. And the taste is delicious. It's super peppery. Oh, you could literally just have a little sip of that if you've got a nice olive oil and just taste it as it is. It's so, so good. You just dip a bit of bread or whatever in there. But anyway, a couple of tablespoons of that going. So you're basically making a dressing. You've got acidity from the lime. You've got this extra virgin olive oil, which is your fat. You've got salt and pepper, the herbs. And now I'll put it back in that little bowl there. And that's an avocado, tomato, and red onion salsa done. Get all that out. And you could put parsley in there, you could put mint in there. You don't have to put the red onion in. You can really do whatever you want with that. And now for a bit of smashed avocado, I've got another avo here. Again, let's just cut around. Let's wipe the knife down around there again. That's how you do it. All the way around. Take your time. Little twist, and then take your knife, gentle tap, out the stone comes, and then we'll grab our spoon and just scoop this out, and I'll scoop that straight into a bowl for the crushed avocado. You can put a pinch of salt and pepper in there. Effectively, this is like making a guacamole. In fact, we could do a bit of guac now because I've got some red onion left. So for guacamole, if you've got any red onion, just literally chop that through. Roughly, you can slice it exactly how you want it. Keep an eye on the mince as well. Just keep giving that a little stir. The longer you cook it, the richer the flavour is going to be. Jean's asking, do I wash the herbs? I don't. They're sort of grown in a pretty sterile environment, and I find when you wash them, you almost bruise the leaves, especially with herbs like basil, coriander, the softer herbs. As soon as it gets wet, you know, you can see it's literally getting bruised. And for me, you're missing out on the freshness. And your little avocados in the bowl, if you want to do crushed ones, crush it up. In we go with that. Give it a nice crush. You can add a little bit of olive oil in there, probably a tablespoon, just to loosen things up. You can add a little bit of lime juice into there. You could add a splash of red wine vinegar. You don't have to put any acidity in if you want. You could use lemon. Or just literally avocado, salt, pepper, and oil. And you can spread that on your toast, have it with your eggs. You can put it in your tacos. But let's do a bit of sort of guacamole. In with some red onion. You can add coriander into that if you want to. This is just sort of an extra thing because we've got the ingredients to do it. A little bit of coriander. Give it a mix. Squeeze a lime. You can add chili as well if you like it hot. And the fresh market recipes, so this recipe, along with all of the others we've done, so in total this year, there'll be 18 places we've visited. That's like 36 recipes. They're all on the M&S website. The recipe cards are in store at the minute, so you can go in, pick them up. And then this is what you need to do now. The next step is to get some on your fork, like that, and then put it towards your mouth. And just have a taste. See if you're happy with it. If you like it, it's done. If you want more lime, if you want more onion, just add a little bit more in. That is our smashed avo done. Now the mince, have a little look. It's looking good. You can see it's nice and thick, sort of dropping off the spoon. If yours is a little bit more runny at home, just keep it on cooking. But I think mine's looking good, so I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to get a small frying pan on now. That'll be for our tacos. Have a little wipe down. I'm gonna use some small tacos. You can use the large fajitas. Do mini ones. You could get the hard shell crunchy ones if you want, or you can actually serve them in a lettuce cup, and I'll show you how to do that. So anyone that's watching the carbohydrate intake, you can actually use that as the perfect vessel to feed yourself a bit of taco later on. Now, dry frying pan, you don't need any oil. Small pan if you're using the small tacos. Large pan if you're using a large one. You can warm them in the microwave. You can pop them in the oven. Pan's nice and hot. While I'm waiting for my pan to heat up, I've been asked, what is the basic ratio for dressings? For me, it's 3 to 1. So 3 parts oil to 1 part acidity. Now, that oil could be extra virgin olive oil. The acidity could be from balsamic vinegar. It could be oil and lemon juice. It could be sesame oil and lime juice for more of an Asian-inspired dressing, but generally 3 to 1. And then you can start adding things to it. So 3 parts oil, 1 part vinegar, maybe a bit of mustard, a little bit of honey. Taste as you go, though, so have a little try. If you want it less acidic, a bit more oil in there to balance it out, or a bit more acidity. So 3 to 1. Now, pan, nice and hot. You can just drop the tacos in, one at a time. And just start toasting them off in batches. Any more questions while we're toasting our tacos? How's everyone's beef looking at home? Is it smelling good? If it's really starting to dry out, you can add a little splash more water to the pan. Just turn it to its lowest to keep it nice and warm whilst you're on toasting up your tacos. And you don't have to toast them. You can literally pop them in the microwave and they'll be really sort of warm and pliable. Okay. Could you bake this to make enchiladas? You definitely could. So an enchilada, if you've never had it before, is literally, think about your taco with the filling in, roll them up, then you pop them in a tray all together, and then you would pour some sort of tomato sauce over the top, but you could just pour half the mixture over the top and put half in there, put a load of cheese on it, bake it in the oven until the top is lovely, golden and bubbly. Let's give that a little turn over. And see, I've got some colour on there. So that, I want it slightly crispy, and it's more sort of tostada-y, but completely up to you, however you like it. Then you can just get a nice plate or a board and just start to load them on. So we'll do a few here tonight. Next one goes in. This is a really fun thing to do if you've got the kids, get them involved, put their own stuff on there. Or just nice one for sharing if you've got friends coming around. Put all the mince into a bowl, put all the stuff out, the salsa, the smashed avo, you can do some salad, and just let everyone dive in and help themselves. Let's turn that over. I better do enough for everyone in here, I know that much. So we'll keep those going, little production line. And you can definitely freeze the mince. So this mince here, you can freeze it when you buy it. It'll actually tell you on the packet the best way to do that. But this is what I think is a good shout. I've lived on my own long enough to know that make a big batch of that for dinner. You can put them into individual portions, into freezer bags or boxes, and you've almost made yourself healthy, homemade, ready meals. And then if you know you're coming in, or you can just chuck one in the fridge the night before to start defrosting. I think it's a brilliant thing to do to get ahead, or by all means keep it in the fridge. And that'll be even nicer the next day, actually, because all the spices and flavors will just develop. Is it healthy? There's quite a lot of oil in it. In my opinion, it's healthy. We're using lean mince. I've only put a tablespoon of oil in, extra virgin olive oil. But I'm not here to give health advice. I'm here to cook a delicious bit of dinner. And for me, it's quite healthy. So that's that. Am I going to put pickles on it? I am going to put pickles on it. This is your time to raid the fridge. Have you got pickled onions? Have you got pickled chilies? Have you got any bits and pieces that are looking a bit sorry for themselves? And you think, get them out. Now is the time. I'm going to use some of these green chilies. Nice and spicy. I like it hot. That's me tacos done. Let's get that off. They are done now. And top tip for these, if you're doing this in advance, you can literally wrap them all up in a warm tea towel, and that will keep them warm. I think the mince is done, but have a little taste of it first. See if you're happy with it. Yeah, it's really quite nice, but add a bit of salt if you need it. If you think it needs a bit more sweetness, just a touch of sugar, half a teaspoon. Oh, Linda's asking corn or flour tortillas. I'm using flour tortillas. Corn is more of what they would traditionally use in Mexico for their tacos, but whatever you prefer. And I mean, obviously corn is gluten-free as well, so that's a really good thing if you're gluten-free. Or just want to try corn taco. It's got a slightly sweeter flavor to it. So to plate these up, we are going to lay them on a board. You can put your sliced avo in. You can put your... Oh, one thing I have forgotten is the lettuce before we plate them up. I've just seen a nice crispy fresh lettuce there. Just slice it through. Or you can leave the leaves whole. There we go. And then lay them out. You can do this one at a time, however you want to do it. I'll do a couple with the old smashed avocado. Spread it in. Sort of up the middle, like that. And I love avocado. It's something that I didn't grow up eating a lot of, but it's become incredibly popular. It's good for you. It's all the sort of healthy fats. But what I do think it needs is other flavors to go with it. So a bit of seasoning, definitely some lime juice, and a little bit of lettuce on there for crunch. So it's all about building different textures as well. You've got that smooth and creamy avocado. You've got that crunchy, fresh lettuce, sort of spicy, soft beef, and then a bit more flavor going on with that salsa. These are looking great. And if you make these tonight, please tag me in your pictures, share what you've made, tag M&S, and I'll share them all. And I can't wait to see if you've made them, and hopefully you're going to enjoy them tonight. And maybe you make them again. And then a bit more on there. Let's go for sliced avocado on this one. And I'll top them off with a salsa at the end. A couple of slices. The hardest bit is not to overfill them. A couple of slices of that. And then I'll go lettuce first. Bit more beef. Ooh, Lottie's asking, could you put bell peppers in the mince? 100%, you can definitely do that. It'd be delicious. I think it's about using what you've got at home. So if you've got peppers sat in the fridge and you're wondering what to do with them, get them in there. Let's get the first two on this little board. Like that. And the nice thing, you just sort of squash them all together and they'll end up sort of sorting themselves out, standing to attention. Bit of the old mince on there. And the smell coming off that, it's perfectly blended spice mix. Plenty of that. If you want to add a bit more heat to this, M&S sell a fantastic chipotle chili paste. It's hot, it's spicy, it's got this sort of deep, rich flavor. Have we got some on there? Oh, we have got some on the back shelf. Hot chipotle paste. And that gives a really smoky depth of flavor. It doesn't need it. It's more of an addition. And oh, the smell of that. But you want to cook that out. That is pretty fierce. One to look out for. Load it up. Yeah. And I'm going to get some bits and pieces out the fridge as well. So we've got some jalapenos, some chili. We've got a salsa. Let's get all the accoutrements, as my mother would say. And then I think let's go on for a little bit of sour cream on top. And I've got the salsa there on the side. And I love this. You've got so many different flavors. Spice, which is just contrasted by this lovely sour cream. And we're putting cheese on. If you wanted to pop them under the grill to melt the cheese off, you could even do that. But it's not just all about the beef. It's these other fresh bits and pieces that go in there. So let's get a bit of our salsa on the top. I'm literally salivating looking at this. We've got Robert's beef in there and Andy's tomatoes. Two fantastic British farmers doing an amazing job to feed the nation delicious food. I think we're so lucky as an island to have this climate which lends itself to growing so many amazing, like a diverse range of products. And having the seasons, I think we all wish for sunshine all year, but it means we wouldn't get things at different times. And for me, it's about looking forward to things when they're in season, like asparagus, earlier in the year. Enjoy it for those few months, a couple of months even. It's such a short season. And then just buy it again next year when it's at its best. Now, the chilies, M&S know as well, all of the farmers that they work with, every single one of the farmers, they have a relationship. I've met some people that work with M&S, even through generations. So sort of Robert with the beef, he's working with them, his sons are now working with them, and they're really proud because their sons are starting to come through into the business. And I was in Kent doing King Cherries a few weeks ago, and that's a multi-generational. So the dad is there. We met his daughter who's running the farm now, and then we nicknamed their son Tarzan. You should have seen him about 16. He was massive, long hair. He was riding around on the quad bike, the nicest kid, but so passionate about what his family do. And he's looking to sort of continue the legacy. And it's important that we support them. And most important thing is we're eating really good food at a great price as well. I mean, it's not expensive to buy these ingredients and make something like this. Look at that. Delicious. And if you like cheese, around the room, everyone for cheese tonight? Bit of cheese on there. This is for 4 people. It does make a lot, but we like to be generous here at M&S. But any leftovers with the mince, if you want to save that, literally pop it on a plate, let it cool down, and then just cover it, get it in the fridge, and have it tomorrow the next day. You could use prawns, great idea, like stir-fry the prawns. They'd be some nice prawn tacos. But let's have a little recap. How's everyone getting on at home? Because we're almost done. And while I'm catching up, I've got to say, my mum's watching tonight. Happy birthday, Mum. Sorry I haven't cooked your dinner. You're kind of cooking your own, but at least we're eating the same thing for dinner tonight. So I hope you enjoy your tacos. And I know you had fish and chips for lunch. I'm a bit jealous about that. And just have a look at this. Absolutely spot on, that. So many levels of flavor. And even just by toasting the tacos, you get a crispiness. You've got that spicy beef mince, a homemade salsa, some cheese, sour cream, chilies. That is just, well, it's exactly what I want for dinner, and everyone's looking pretty hungry in here tonight. Let's have a look. So some more questions. When is the next event? Next event will be next month. We are going to be doing a monthly Sparks Live. We've got loads going on. M&S are also going to be at Feastival, which is a big sort of food and music, family-orientated festival next month. So stay tuned for some updates. We've got some really exciting content coming for you from sort of behind the scenes there. And I'll definitely be back next month for another cook-along. So I want to say, if you've made this tonight, let me know how you got on. I can't wait to see any pictures. Tag me in M&S, and I'll see you all next month. And, well, I better go and share these around, or I'll not be popular, but I'm going to have one first. So have a fantastic evening, and thanks for joining me. Cheers.